Right off the bat, dictionaries are mutable on ordered collections of what? Items. Now, collections here, we should think about what? Key value pairs. You understand? Okay, so we should think about key value pairs. Now, they are defined using curly braces. So, curly braces like this, curly brackets, and consist of key value pairs. Each key is unique and is used to access its corresponding value. Okay, so now I want you to think about situations where we need a key value pair, right? But you can pause the video and think about that. But in order not to waste time, let's just go into mine. So when we have a student like this, right? We can populate the student's dictionary that we are trying to create with some key value pairs. You understand? So we know that every student has a name. Now I want to keep the name as a string. Understand? So let's go ahead and keep the name as Alice, right? And then want to keep our age. So let's say age. And now let's say ages. The person has to be young. Let's say 25, right? And then we need to add their major, or we could call it subject, but let's just say major. And then we'll add another string. And then we'll see computer science. Good. Now I really hope you can notice something very important over here. You can see that we have lines under this. Now this is on purpose, right? Do not forget to be separating each key value pair by a comma. We need to separate each of our key value pairs with a comma in order to have a valid dictionary. All right. Yeah, so that's how to create our dictionary, right? Good. Now these are rules that we should keep in mind when we are using this our dictionary. Okay. Now the keys could be anything immutable. You see. Now any data type that's immutable can be a key. Immutable in the sense that it cannot be changed. We don't want our key to be something that we can change, because if you can see the next comment down here, we are going to be accessing values. So we don't want the thing that we are going to be using to access values to be changed. I don't know if I'm making some sense why. So we don't want anything here to be able to do what? To be changed. You understand? Good. So the most common data types that we can use for the key are strings and then integers, because they can't be changed. And not unless you are going inside here to change them, they cannot be changed. Because that's what Python used to find our key value pair. They rely on the keys. So we want Python to always be able to find our key. So we make sure our key is an immutable data type. So now let's look at how we can access the values, right? Now, like I said, we access the values using our key, right? So we need to identify the dictionary that we are going to be looking inside. If that makes any sense, we need to identify the dictionary. Then we need to use our square brackets, right? And then we tell the name of the key as it is, bar for bar. So when I see name, they should be able to return me the name of Alice, right? It's supposed to return me the name of Alice. Now, as you know in this course, this does not do anything. It does not give us any output. So let's just add a print over here, and then we are going to be able to return our student's name. Good. So if you look here, you can see that we have Alice. I don't know, this is a bit small. Yeah, you can see that we have been able to successfully return the name being Alice. Okay, good. Now there's something that we need to consider if we are going to be using this method. There's something you're supposed to consider. Whenever we use something that's not here in the keys, we are going to throw an error. Okay, so let me come here and then let me see size. Since size is not a key in our student's dictionary, you can see that we have an error. You see, yes, but fear not, there's a way to what to work around it. Good. Let me change this back to name so that we can work with this. And now let's use our .get, right? Our .get works the same way as this by using the keys. That's why we always want our keys not to be changed. They must be immutable, right? So we identify our dictionary again. So I'm going to go for students like this. So students, right? And now you know how we call functions. So this is students dot get, and then we put our braces. And now we go and get. Let me see. We have already gotten our name. Let's go for age. Let's go for age like this. And once again, this does nothing. We need output. So we go ahead and then we print. And now when we run, you can see that we have our name successfully and then our age successfully being 25. Yes. So that's how to access values that we have in a dictionary. All right, good. Now what we can do also is to add new key value pairs. We can update our dictionaries with more pairs, with more lines. Let me put it like that. Okay. So in order to do that, what you are going to do is, again, we need to identify the dictionary we are going to be working with, right? And it is stored in our variable students. So we just say, okay, so we want to go to students, and now we want to create our square bracket, right? And now I want to add, let me see, let's add gender, right? We want to add gender. Now we need to set this gender to be equal to something. So we say gender is equal to. Now Alice is a female, so let's just say female. All right, good. Now once again, this does not do anything. So once again, we'll not be able to see this. So at the end of it, or let's print our whole dictionary again. Let's print it again. Right? Yes. And then we print students. So let me run this again. Good. Now you can see that we have our name, we have our age, we have our major, we have computer science, and then we have our gender to be female. So we have successfully added something into our students dictionary. You understand? Now we are not just going to leave it at that. Let's also add, let's also change some of the records. So what you can do is you can update again. Well, if let's say you want to change this age, right? When you want to change records, you can also do that. So we go for students, and we can change, let's change the major, right? Maybe the person, she fancies biology. What did we choose first? We chose computer science. Maybe Alice ran away, because let's be serious. CS is very tough. You understand? Yeah, so once I run this again, and you can see that our major has been updated to biology. Yeah, so that's how to be manipulating our dictionary, right? Now, finally, what I want to talk about is how to delete information from our dictionaries. Okay, if you are lost on this, you may want to move back into the previous lessons, right? Good. So once again, we need to identify the dictionary that we want to work on. So we say what students.pop. Okay, nice. Now what do we want to pop, right? We want to pop, let me see, our age. So when we use pop, oh, maybe I should have taught the other one first, but no, let's look at this. Let's look at it. It's fresh in my mind, so let's look at this. So when I want to use this pop, right, and we are saying want to take away age. Now pop is going to knock the whole thing out for us, but it's also going to keep it, should I say, in some temporary memory. You understand? So whenever I want to delete in our dictionaries and we use pop, ideally we want to store the value. I don't want to say value of value, but we want to store this one, and want to store this value somewhere. Want to keep it for, should I say, future use. You see? So let me see. Let me create another variable. Let me say removed age. It's got to students dot pop, and then we say we pop the what? We pop the age. Now when I'm done, finally let me print removed age. Let me print removed age. Good. Now let me run this. and then you can see that it kept the age. So you can see that we kept the 25. Yes. So when we are using pop, like we'll keep the value of whatever key we are deleting. We are going to keep the value somewhere. You understand? For whatever I want to use it for. So that's when we are going to use the pop method to be deleting, right? Now, another way to be removing items is using the del method. And that's a simpler one. I think I should have taught this first. So with this, we start by saying del, and we say student. We need to identify the dictionary we want. So when we say students, when we go, let me see, let's go to major. We have already messed with age. We go to major like this, and then this is going to just remove everything without keeping anything. So should I comment or? And guys, like if you watch to this point, tell me, will you guys be needing the code? I've not been keeping the code. I've not been keeping the code. And we print. Let me see. Now let's just carry this line to the last after we are done deleting. And then we'll see everything in our students. Good. So let me run. So let's look at the track record. We print Alice, we print 25, and then we print name and then age. Because at the last point we took out the major, right? Yes. So that's dictionaries for you. That's dictionaries for you.